Amphibia is one of those shows that comes along once in a lifetime, and you absolutely need to watch it. I admit, I didn't think much of what Disney TVA had up their sleeve when Amphibia and the Owl House were announced. Doing some light research, this was around February 2018. Star Vs. was still in people's immediate attention at the time. It truly was a different era. I think this is what made people cautiously optimistic that both these shows had similar premises on the surface, but the execution couldn't be more different. Amphibia led Anne with her friends Sasha and Marcy being transported to the titular frog world, trying to survive, adapt, and find their way home. Similar to Lucy's situation with the Boiling Isles and the Owl House. But it's much more of her own volition there. It's a yin and yang thing. Each of the three girls in Amphibia are in a different area, and the idea of nature versus nurture comes into play. How much does one's behavior become determined by how they naturally are, versus how one's surroundings impacts that behavior? Is each girl destined to remain as they are, or can the people they interact with and the areas they reside in affect them? Now, you can't be too hard on these girls. They're teenagers, middle schoolers at that. They're what, 13? But all of them have issues. Anne is kinda cocky, she's kinda lazy, she's indecisive, and sometimes irresponsible. Sasha is emotionally withdrawn, putting on a facade of being cold and distant, used to having the ability to twist people around her finger to get them to do her way. She doesn't know what her true self is. Marcy is eccentric and bubbly, not to mention highly intelligent, but also is too trusting and naive and hates change and being alone underneath her guise of being more self-confident and organized. The point of being literally pushed out of your comfort zone is to address situations and perspectives that you normally do not consider. It's something that happens to all of us in life when we grow up. And staying in Wartwood gave her a huge amount of respect for all the frogs living there and their customs. Staying with the Planters gave her a greater respect for nature and reconnecting with it, and also being empathetic with how she treats people. The biggest thing Anne wants is respect, and initially she's seen as an outcast and treated like a monster. But she needs to earn it. Over time, she is given that respect because she shows emotional growth and attachment to everyone in Wartwood. She has a big heart. And of course, eventually, the people in Wartwood need to come to terms with the fact that they need to treat her like an equal as well. She's willing to protect and fight with not only the Planters, but everyone in Wartwood. She takes the time to help out the people close to her in order to understand them. In the process, she learns more about and respects the Planter way, and she learns more about frog culture in general. All the while, she gives people a taste of what she left back home with the culture that makes her Anne. Anne's not just a teen girl in the frog world. She's a Thai American teenager, and a lot of her actions end up showing all three adjectives. All of those are adjectives that describe her and who she is. Not to say this is all she has to offer, of course, but these are the central words that construct her. Sasha's time in Toad Tower displays how she's able to use sweet talking and emotional manipulation to get people to do what she wants. Instead of being around people to reinforce that these are negative qualities like Anne with the Planters, she's instead seen that there is gratification to acting this way, instead of seeing that there's anything that she should fix. Grime is the sort of person that brings out the worst in Sasha, and again, being in an environment that rewards her for this behavior, it definitely has a negative effect on her. Sasha convinces herself that everything is ultimately necessary in order to fulfill the ultimate goal, to get her and her friends back home. But she doesn't want to let anyone in, and she doesn't want anyone to get out of her control, because she's not sure people would want to be around her if she doesn't show forceful control over them. Sasha has so much potential for development, because you can see she still has some level of compassion. She's been wearing masks for so long, she's not even sure she entirely believes what she's saying and doing. You can tell she genuinely cares about Anne and Marcy, and she really does want them as friends. but other priorities and allegiances are in her head. It's just too much. I think a pivotal moment was her going headfirst into a risky operation with Braddock and Percy after they explicitly were against it. And even if it worked, neither of them felt comfortable going along with Sasha's decision from that point on. She lost people because she didn't take how they felt into consideration. She doesn't always know what's best, and this was a harsh reminder that her actions have consequences even if she gets the outcome she thinks she wants. Not to mention, we don't see Sasha much, but the show expertly makes all the time we spend with her have an impact. Of course, Marcy was definitely the overarching focus of season 2. I want to keep things short and vague, sort of, in case you haven't seen Amphibia yet. But at the same time, I'm pretty sure, just like the whole twist that Omni-Man is actually a genocidal maniac, it's hard to escape the big twist of Marcy's demise. But honestly, this shouldn't turn you off. In fact, I'm very much looking forward to rewatching Amphibia from the beginning because the knowledge of what happens in the season 2 finale completely changes my perspective on everything that happens, especially with how it concerns Marcy. All in all, she really is just an innocent girl. She's presented in such a pure way, and either way, when you find out what secret she's been holding, it's hard to be mad at her. She's just a 13-year-old kid who loves her friends and wanted them to be near her. It's not like she's not held accountable for this in some form, but it's something that was done with the best intent, even if the outcome wasn't ideal. Unlike Sasha, Marcy's super intelligent in terms of book smarts, she's super eager to make friends, but when it comes to talking to people, she's not the best. She didn't intentionally want to manipulate people. She's not able to manage herself, so it's either someone trusting and naive to get swept up under someone else's wing. And we all know whose wing this is. And that's the worst part, but also genuinely surprising because we saw Marcy so prominently we had no idea or reason to assume that she was capable of something like this, or that anything would happen to her. It took time to really give us a new character to get attached to and a new positive friend for Anne after she's had a hard time trusting people, and they still went through with going with this direction. And it's not an asshole, it doesn't come out of nowhere. It just hits you unexpectedly and very hard. Trust is another thing that I think is a pivotal theme in Amphibia, and it's something that I can completely understand from personal experience. The seeds are planted since the very beginning for it to be a focal point in the show. Anne had to learn to trust people again after having to trust in her friends questioned multiple times. This especially comes into play with the dynamic Anne and Sasha have, and it reaches its boiling point in the season 1 finale. After a whole season's worth of growth, Anne is confident enough to question and push back at Sasha, wanting to control what she does and how she acts. She's been doing this for a long time after all. Even afterwards, she has trouble letting Sasha back in despite obviously wanting to be friends with her, but Anne's not a pushover anymore, and this honestly surprises people. Having Anne's trust in people already at a low level is something that makes her highly sensitive towards being deceived or lied to, and something that comes into play with Sasha again, and with Marcy, and with Hop Pop. The intent may never be as specific as wanting to hurt Anne, and there are definitely circumstances as to why some people may not want to keep Anne in on things, but secrets and white lies, no matter what is the reason of making them, can bite you in the ass eventually. This takes a toll on a girl who's simply been through too much change in just a short amount of time, and having her ability to trust people being put into question time and time again. Her poor heart just can't take it. However, seeing King Andrias having his own nefarious motives that put everyone in danger, and effectively putting on that mask and making people think he's a humble, genuine ruler, instead of a corrupt tyrant that rejects the notion of friendship and compassion for the sake of having more land to conquer and people to control, and seeing him directly hurt the friends that Anne's been attached to for so long, in spite of whatever else they may have done. It was her breaking point. There's just so much more that I can talk about with this show, honestly, so consider this an introductory glance. But everything about this show is just so goddamn good. I think a mark of the show's quality in general is the fact that it doesn't fall into a problem that I personally have with Star Versus initially, and also what many people have a problem with other shows like Steven Universe: slow pace and tonal whiplash. The initial article for Amphibia and the Owl House I found described Amphibia as a comedy. It's very funny. and very entertaining, but not a comedy. It's just where a show switches up a competent humorous tone and status quo to a different vibe to accommodate for more long-form storytelling. But in the process, it loses a bit of charm that made the initial episode special when it really didn't have to. And the slow pace is exasperated by TV networks not being able to properly schedule episodes, which is not only something that's out of control of people who make the show, but it's something that Amphibia's had to deal with. Season 1 was dumped onto Disney XD in a marathon binge way that had sporadic reruns throughout the rest of the time. I missed that completely. And you didn't see many people talk about it either, at least where I was. Thank God the marketing got better and Matt was able to push for weekly, or at the very least, more regular showings of episodes, which made it much more manageable to catch up with and wait for new episodes. Weekly showings still matter in a post-streaming world. Why do you think Infinity Train Book 3 was dumped in parts? It really did help. You need a bit of time to let the emotional weight of certain episodes sink in. Now, the pacing has always been a sore spot for people, and I'm not gonna lie, there definitely is a bias towards shows that do have a narrative as opposed to shows that are just funny for the sake of being funny. Both can coexist, of course, but one always seems to get overshadowed. People seem to not really be into towny episodes, but I've never really been of that crowd. I know a lot of people say that Toe Tax when Amphibia gets good, but each first season of any show is going to be rough to some extent. Everyone's getting good at how they make the show. They get better over time. And to just throw out a lot of time to just chill and be happy with the characters just because it doesn't add to the main overarching story, that's not really my speed. Matt has explicitly said that there is no filler in Amphibia, and I agree with that. Even freaking Dragon Ball Z had some of its best episodes be quote-unquote filler. Piccolo God's driver's license, damn it, that was great. With Amphibia, even if a show doesn't directly coincide with the overarching story, every episode is important to some degree. Not all quote-unquote filler is like this. Sometimes it is just fun for the sake of it, but that doesn't mean it's any less enjoyable. You need a break. It's okay to have breaks. What's also important is that shows, including Amphibia, have a lot of characters. While not all of them are major ones, hell, all the ones I think are cute have only appeared in one episode, 2 or 3 max. You need to get attached to these people in order to really understand their place. Even minor or secondary characters can have a huge impact on your primary characters, and they're just nice to keep up with in their own right. They have their own wants and needs and desires. The only thing I dislike about this show is that I feel like I'm already saying goodbye to a friend that I just started getting to know. I know the discussion around the show and the Owl House and other shows that have come and gone is around cancellations and shows getting endings that they really deserve but they didn't get to see. Amphibia is getting 3 seasons, which apparently is originally in Matt's vision, but man, with the amount of new people we're going to be seeing in season 3, plus keeping a balance of all the ones we already know, I really wish we got more, because I'm dreading it being rushed. Owl House is getting a 2nd season, and its 3rd is being cut into a bunch of TV specials to compensate for its / episode count. And people aren't happy with knowing that. It also surprised me because I legit thought that Owl House was the more popular of the two. But it goes to show that under the eyes of execs, you're basically on the chopping block no matter what. Owl House has had some controversy with promotion as well, because apparently the people who cut the promo and approved it end up implementing some spoilers that Dana did not know about. Such is life. Again, some of the stuff really is out of people's control, and the creators aren't aware of everything, then, us fans, it kind of makes us feel more powerless. And while I would love for all of our petitions and tweets and letter writing campaigns to get noticed, it just doesn't happen all the time. And that's not to say you don't love your shows enough, or to say you shouldn't be sending letters, making tweets, or fan art or whatever, especially when the creators are directly saying this. It's just that even if a show doesn't get as much runtime as originally wanted, the experience of watching that show is going to be with you forever. Amphibia is going to be with me forever. The experience of watching it and theorizing with it and analyzing it is going to be with me forever. You can't go back in time to experience this stuff. Sure, you can just watch Gravity Falls on Disney Plus now. You can still catch reruns on Disney XD. But unless you were around that time to theorize and wait for everything to just fall into place and seeing that finale first run, you can't go back. And that's why you really need to cherish every moment you have in general, but of course with your favorite shows while they're still around. I love everything about this show, and I'm going to be on the ride till the very end. Of course, this is coming from someone who needed to binge season 1 a couple days before season 2 hit. And we're in hiatus mode again. So while the show's on hiatus until season 3 drops, this is a perfect time for anyone who hasn't seen the show yet to hop on. Matt Bradley and his crew have made something that's really special to me and so many other people. And I want other people to just really see why the show is just goddamn good. Amphibia is dope. Thank you very much for watching this. I know it's been a long time since I've had any sort of edited video on here, but I appreciate you guys sticking by the channel regardless. More stuff is indeed coming on the pipeline, and I'll really appreciate if you listen to my podcast, The Cash Cast, in the meantime. It's on most platforms, including this channel, and recently I was able to talk to my friend, Wasp Ranger of It's Only Magic, about Amphibia and Sonic. Many of the points I make here are gone to some type of detail, and it's just a nice thing to listen to in the background. I'm very busy, but I'm trying to get the let out into making content again. Learning new programs, making more stuff, trying to get a job. But you know how it is. Take care, stay safe, wear a mask, and love and peace. Always.